it. Come on. Deep breath. Come on, baby. You got it. Finish strong. All the way in the center. 5. You got 5 more. Dig. 4 more. You're almost there, kid. You got 3 more. Yes, last 2. Perfect. 1 more. And down.
Good money.
This wasn't supposed to turn into a moment. It was supposed to be quick, casual, and forgettable. A stream gets announced, people get curious, hype builds, and then out of nowhere it disappears. No countdown, no apology tour, just silence. And silence online is never empty. It's loud enough to make people lean closer to their screens. Ryan Garcia was left hanging in real time, and the internet noticed. Because when a boxer with that kind of name gets involved, cancellations don't feel accidental anymore. They feel like decisions. And right when the questions started stacking up, Chrisean Rock didn't clear anything up. She shifted the entire storyline instead of explaining why the stream vanished. She revealed something that flipped the narrative upside down. Not drama, not excuses. A boxing coach dropped casually, like it was already old news and everyone else was late. That's when timelines froze, because now this wasn't about a canceled stream. This felt like a pivot, a move, a chess piece sliding across the board while everyone else was still arguing about the rules. People started asking the uncomfortable questions immediately. Was the stream ever the point? Was this a rebrand in motion? Or was this another unpredictable twist from someone who refuses to move the way the internet expects? Whatever the truth is, one thing became clear fast at first glance. The cancellation didn't feel like a scandal. It felt like one of those internet moments people shrug off because they happen to often to care. Streams get canceled. Collaborations fall apart. Schedules suddenly change. Everyone pretends it's normal, even when it isn't. But this one refused to disappear quietly, and that's because the anticipation had already crossed a line. People weren't just curious. They were invested. The announcement alone created friction. Ryan Garcia's name carries weight whether he's fighting, tweeting, or breathing. Attach that name to Chrisean Rock, and suddenly the internet isn't just watching for entertainment, it's watching for chaos. Two completely different energies, two different audiences, two reputations that don't naturally blend. That tension was the hook, and everyone felt it before anything even happened. Then the stream vanished. No dramatic explanation, no emotional post, no messy back and forth that usually comes with these situations. It was canceled in a way that felt abrupt, almost unfinished, like something stopped mid-decision. And when moments end without closure, the internet fills in the gaps aggressively. Speculation flooded in fast. Some people said it was technical. Others whispered about behind-the-scenes tension. A few claimed the vibes were off from the start, but the louder theories suggested something more uncomfortable. That someone realized too late the collaboration didn't benefit them the way they thought it would. That's when Chrisean resurfaced, not apologetic, not defensive, calm in a way that made people uncomfortable. And instead of addressing the cancellation directly, she introduced a detail that instantly reframed the entire situation. She revealed she had a boxing coach, not as a joke, not as a teaser, as a fact. That single reveal hit harder than any explanation could have, because a boxing coach isn't random. It implies commitment, structure, direction, and direction doesn't align with impulsive decisions. It suggests planning, a pivot made deliberately, not emotionally. The internet immediately felt the shift, even if nobody could fully articulate why. Suddenly, the Ryan Garcia stream didn't feel canceled. It felt replaced. People began asking questions that didn't exist an hour earlier. Was this stream ever the goal? Or was it a stepping stone towards something else? Did Chrisean realize that talking about boxing wasn't enough? That aligning with the sport required a different image? Or did something about the collaboration expose a gap she didn't want highlighted? Those questions didn't come from facts. They came from timing. Because the coach reveal landed too cleanly after the cancellation to feel coincidental. It felt like a pivot that had been waiting for the right moment. And whether intentional or not, the optics were loud. The internet loves patterns. And once it senses one, it doesn't let go. Old clips resurfaced almost instantly. Moments where Chrisean joked about fighting. Times she leaned into aggression like it was part of her identity instead of a punchline. Comments that once felt exaggerated suddenly looked like early drafts of a bigger plan. What used to feel chaotic now felt like foreshadowing. People started reframing her entire persona through a new lens. Not as unpredictable, but as someone testing boundaries, pushing narratives, seeing what sticks. The coach reveal didn't feel like a random update, it felt like a declaration that she was moving differently now. And Ryan Garcia's absence made that contrast even sharper, because whether he meant to or not, his presence raised the stakes. Standing next to a professional boxer changes the joke. It forces comparison. It invites scrutiny. And maybe that scrutiny didn't align with the version of herself Chrisean wanted to present. That idea spread fast. People questioned whether she pulled out because the optics didn't work. Whether she realized the collaboration shifted her from personality to participant. Whether the stream was canceled because it exposed a mismatch in seriousness that couldn't be edited away. And the wild part, nobody needed confirmation. The vibe did all the talking. Sarcasm took over the comments. Jokes about canceling conversations and choosing punches instead. Comments framing the stream as a distraction and the coach as the real announcement. People laughed, but underneath the humor was suspicion. The kind that sticks. What made everything louder was her silence. This was the moment to clarify, to explain, to redirect the narrative gently. And she didn't. She let the conversation spiral without interference. She posted like someone who understood that reacting would shrink the moment instead of shaping it. Silence, in moments like this, doesn't feel passive. It feels confident, and confidence makes people assume intention. The internet split almost immediately. One side praised her for leveling up. They framed the coach reveal as growth, as maturity, as someone finally choosing discipline over disorder, training over talking, control over chaos. They saw the cancellation not as avoidance, but as prioritization. The other side wasn't convinced. They saw a distraction, a pivot designed to redirect attention away from an awkward cancellation that didn't land cleanly. They questioned whether the coach was always part of the plan or introduced to regain control after momentum shifted. And that tension became the fuel. Because when audiences feel like they're missing context, they don't wait for answers. They build narratives. They speculate louder. They project motives onto silence. And Chrisean became the center of that projection. Every post felt strategic. Every absence felt intentional. Every word was weighed against what she didn't say. The cancellation stopped being about logistics and started being about identity. About whether she was evolving or evading. That's when the situation stopped being small. Because it was no longer about a stream that didn't happen. It was about a direction that did. And directions invite judgment. They force people to choose whether they believe the shift is real or performative. The coach reveal did something dangerous. It raised expectations. Now people weren't just watching for chaos. They were watching for consistency, for follow-through, for proof that this wasn't just another moment that flared and faded. And that's pressure. Because once you suggest discipline, the audience demands results. Once you imply seriousness, the internet stops forgiving randomness. The margin for error shrinks. Chrisean didn't just change the narrative. She raised the stakes. And as the speculation deepened, as reaction videos multiplied, and as the conversation widened beyond her control, one thing became increasingly clear. This wasn't the explosion. This was the setup. Because when the internet senses a pivot, it doesn't wait to see where it leads. Once the boxing coach revelation settled in, the conversation didn't slow down, it multiplied. The internet didn't treat it like an update. It treated it like a signal. And signals don't exist in isolation. They invite interpretation, suspicion, and exaggeration, especially when they arrive right after something disappears without explanation. Memes took over before facts ever had a chance. Screenshots of Ryan Garcia waiting. Old clips of Chrisean shadow boxing were posted like hidden clues. Side-by-side edits comparing her chaotic past moments. With captions like training arc unlocked. What should have been a simple reveal turned into a montage of assumptions. Stitched together by sarcasm, reaction channels went into overdrive. Everyone suddenly became an expert on Chrisean's intentions. Some framed it like a redemption arc, the kind reality TV producers dream of but can never script. Others treated it like a smoke screen, a shiny distraction tossed into the room to pull attention away from an awkward cancellation that didn't play out the way it was supposed to. Ryan Garcia's absence became louder than his presence ever was. The internet hates unresolved dynamics, and now his name floated through the conversation like a ghost nobody wanted to acknowledge directly. People started asking whether he knew about the boxing coach before the stream was announced, whether the collaboration was meant to be playful or promotional, whether someone realized, too late, that standing next to an actual boxer made the entire setup feel unserious. That's when the tone shifted from curiosity to critique. Comments stopped asking what happened and started asking what went wrong. What happened and started asking what went wrong. Some claimed Chrisean didn't want to be perceived as a gimmick next to someone who treats boxing like religion. Others suggested she recognized the imbalance and chose to pivot before the internet could laugh her out of the room. And because no one involved clarified anything, every theory gained equal weight. Chrisean's silence became its own character in the story. She didn't deny the speculation. She didn't fuel it either. She moved like someone who understood that the moment was bigger than her explanations. Every post felt intentional. Every absence felt calculated. Whether that was true didn't matter. It felt true. And feelings run the algorithm. The analogies got wild. People compared it to an athlete skipping tryouts to train privately, to an actor dropping out of a role to reinvent their image, to a reality star deciding they wanted respect instead of ratings. Each comparison stretched the narrative further from reality and closer to myth. The boxing coach became symbolic. Not a person, but an idea. Discipline replacing chaos. Structure replacing impulse. A rebrand disguised as personal growth, or personal growth disguised as a rebrand, depending on which side you are on. And the sides were forming fast. Supporters praised the move as overdue. They framed Chrisean as someone finally choosing self-control over spectacle, training over talking, growth over clout. They said canceling the stream was the smartest thing she could have done because it protected her from being boxed into a joke version of herself. Critics weren't impressed. They accused her of dodging accountability, of pulling the plug because the stream stopped serving her image, of pivoting not out of discipline, but out of discomfort. They questioned whether the coach reveal was always planned or conveniently introduced once the internet started asking questions she didn't want to answer. And then came the celebrity reactions, quiet, but telling, not statements, not interviews, likes at suspicious moments. Emojis dropped under the right posts, quotes about focus and evolution posted without names but with perfect timing. The internet treats silence from insiders like confirmation, and suddenly every subtle interaction became a clue. The memes escalated. Training montages set to dramatic music, fake fight posters, edits portraying Chrisean like she was entering a Rocky-style transformation arc, except messier and louder. What started as sarcasm slowly turned into expectation, and expectations are dangerous because now the audience wasn't just watching for drama. They were watching for proof that this boxing coach wasn't just a moment. Proof that the cancellation meant something. Proof that this shift was real. Ryan Garcia became collateral in the discourse. Some people defended him, saying the stream cancellation reflected poorly on professionalism. Others argued he was never the point, just a catalyst, a name that helped expose a direction mismatched before it became a bigger embarrassment. The more people debated it, the less the original facts mattered. This was no longer about a stream. It was about perception. about whether Chrisean could step into a more disciplined image without dragging chaos behind her, about whether the internet would allow her to change without punishing her for who she used to be. And the internet doesn't like letting people evolve quietly. Every move she made was scrutinized. Training posts were analyzed. Language was dissected. People counted how often she mentioned boxing versus how often she avoided addressing the cancellation. Even neutral updates were framed as intentional silence. The coach reveal had flipped the power dynamic. Instead of reacting to the internet, Chrisean had forced the internet to react to her. And that loss of control made people louder, not calmer. When audiences feel excluded from the explanation, they don't disengage. They speculate harder. The pressure built fast, because now backing out of boxing talk would look fake. Failing to follow through would look performative, and continuing without addressing the cancellation would keep the controversy alive longer than any statement ever could. The moment demanded escalation. And escalation was coming, because once the internet decides you've entered a new era, it doesn't ask if you're ready. It tests you publicly, ruthlessly, and without mercy. The cancellation, the coach, the silence. All of it fused into a single question hanging over the conversation. Is this transformation, or is it another distraction? And the answer wasn't going to come from explanations. The aftermath didn't hit like an explosion. It settled like fog, slow, heavy, impossible to ignore once it wrapped around everything. The jokes were still circulating, the memes still popping up, but underneath the noise, something had changed. The conversation wasn't playful anymore, it was evaluative. The internet had moved from reacting to judging. Chrisean wasn't just trending, she was being measured. Every post became evidence, every absence became intentional. People stopped laughing with the moment and started watching for confirmation. Confirmation that the boxing coach wasn't just a talking point. Confirmation that the canceled stream wasn't a dodge. Confirmation that this wasn't another chaotic loop dressed up as growth. And that's where pressure lives. Because once you suggest discipline, the audience expects discipline. Once you imply seriousness, randomness stops being charming. The internet doesn't allow you to flirt with transformation. It demands commitment or punishment. Supporters stayed loud at first. They framed the situation as evolution under a microscope. Said Chrisean was finally choosing structure over spectacle. That canceling the stream protected her image instead of damaging it. That training quietly instead of performing publicly was the smartest move she'd made in a long time. But support online is conditional. It lasts exactly as long as momentum does. Critics, meanwhile, sharpened their knives. They revisited every past moment where Chrisean leaned into chaos, every impulsive decision, every unfinished pivot. They questioned whether this boxing era would last longer than the hype cycle, whether the coach was a long-term commitment or a temporary prop, and the silence didn't help. Chrisean still hadn't fully addressed the Ryan Garcia cancellation. No detailed explanation, no emotional breakdown, no clean narrative tying everything together. That absence became the loudest criticism of all. People don't forgive silence when they feel entitled to context. Ryan Garcia's name slowly faded from the spotlight, but not from memory. The cancellation followed him like a footnote in conversations that weren't even about him anymore. Some said he dodged a mess, others said he was collateral damage in someone else's rebrand. Either way, the association lingered just long enough to feel awkward. And awkward moments age badly online. Behind the scenes, things shifted. You could feel it in the energy. Mutuals stopped engaging publicly. People who were once quick to comment went quiet. Not unfollowing, just watching. That's when you know something stuck. When support turns into surveillance, the boxing coach, once symbolic, became a test. Every time Chrisean mentioned training, people scrutinized it. Was it consistent? Was it serious? Was it performative? The internet doesn't believe in private growth. It believes in receipts. And when receipts don't come fast enough, skepticism fills the gap. opportunities didn't disappear, they hesitated. Brands move slower around controversy dressed as transformation. Collaborations become maybe later. Conversations happen off camera instead of on. The fallout wasn't dramatic, but it was real. Chrisean stood her ground publicly. She didn't retreat, she didn't over-explain. She moved like someone aware that once you pivot publicly, walking backward costs more than pushing forward. That confidence kept her momentum alive, but it also raised the stakes even higher. Because now there was no room for inconsistency. The internet doesn't let you rebrand halfway. It demands either proof or collapse, and the margin for error shrinks every time someone says, "I'm different now." Angela, critics, commentators, everyone circled back to the same idea. Was this growth or was this camouflage? Was the boxing coach the beginning of discipline or just another chapter in the spectacle? And the truth is, the answer didn't matter as much as the perception. Because perception became the consequence, Chrisean wasn't being judged on who she was anymore. She was being judged on who she claimed she was becoming. That's a heavier weight. One mistake under that lens feels like betrayal, not error. The canceled stream stopped being the controversy. It became the origin story. Every future move will trace back to it. Every training post compared against it. Every public appearance weighed against the seriousness she implied. The internet doesn't forget turning points, it replaced them. And that's the real fallout no one talks about. Not the backlash, not the memes, not the criticism. It's the permanence. Moments like this don't fade. They evolve. They resurface months later when something similar happens. They get referenced casually, like everyone remembers exactly how it felt when it first dropped. This feels like that time. Remember when she canceled? This reminds me of. That's how narratives survive. And Chrisean now exists inside one that won't let her move freely. Every step forward is compared to the moment she pivoted. Every pause interpreted as doubt. Every burst of chaos treated like confirmation. The boxing coach didn't just change the storyline. It locked it. Because now the audience isn't waiting for drama, it's waiting for validation. Validation that the pivot was real. Validation that the silence meant confidence. Validation that this wasn't just another moment designed to outrun accountability. And validation online is brutal. It doesn't come gently. It doesn't come privately. It comes through pressure. So the question stopped being whether canceling the stream was the right move. The question became whether she can live up to what the move implied. Because once you suggest discipline, the internet doesn't clap. It watches closely. And if there's one thing this moment proved, it's that Chrisean didn't just step into a new era. And now it's on you, because if you made it this far, you're not here by accident. You didn't stay for background noise. You stayed because something about this situation feels unfinished. And unfinished stories are where the truth usually hides. So let's hear it. Drop your real take in the comments. Not the polite one. Not the safe one. Was this a genuine pivot into discipline, or a perfectly timed distraction from a cancellation that didn't land? Did Chrisean outgrow the moment? Or did the moment expose something she didn't want on camera? Say it loud, because silence is how other people write your opinion for you. Now smash that like button like it owes you money. Dodge your calls, and then pretended it didn't recognize you in public. Likes tell the algorithm one thing: this conversation isn't over. And trust me, it's nowhere near finished. If you're new here, hit subscribe like your feed depends on it, because it does. This channel doesn't wait for press releases. We break down the pivots, the pauses, the moments people try to skate past without explanation. When something cancels, shifts, or mysteriously disappears, we're already connecting the dots. Turn on notifications too. Not later. Not tomorrow, now. Because scandals don't come with calendars, and the next twist always drops when people think the story cooled off. This isn't just commentary. This is pattern recognition in real time. We don't just tell you what happened, we tell you why it felt the way it did. So stay locked in. Stay curious. stay a little skeptical, because if this moment proved anything, it's that silence isn't empty, it's strategic. And when strategy meets chaos, you already know where to be. Welcome to Celeb Ruckus, where the drama doesn't fade.